Alright, hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to be looking at all the SAT math formulas, so I'll try my best to cover everything that you should be tested on. Alright, first off, here's the quadratic formula. So it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, and you get those from y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, otherwise known as vertex form, one of the vertex forms. And usually on this one, you can look at the answer choices and they would give some indication whether to use quadratic formula or regular factoring. Okay, next we have the slope formula, so that's just y equals mx plus b. This is a pretty standard one that I think most people should know. Okay, next we have how to calculate the slope. So one thing you should know is slope is rise over run, and then y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 equals slope. What you can also do, if you just look at it, you can count how many it's going up if it's a positive one, how many it's going up, and how many it's over when it intersects right here at a solid point. So let's say this is like 2, and this is 2. And it's not drawn to scale, so it would be up 2 over 2. So therefore, slope of 1, because then it would also go up 1 over 1. Okay. Next we have the point slope formula. So this is just if you have the slope, and if you have one set of points and you're trying to find another point that intersects, you can just plug it in for y1 and x1. So it's y1 minus it's y minus y1 equals m, the slope, times x minus x1. So again, you just plug in your points and plug in the slope for m. Okay, midpoint formula is if you're given like two sets of points and you're trying to find a point that's in the middle. So it's x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. And this should get you your set of points. Okay, next you have the first distance formula. So this is a pretty basic one. It's d equals rt. So distance equals the rate, so like speed, times time. And then here's the second distance formula. You have d equals the square root of x2 minus x1 whole squared plus y2 minus y1 whole squared. And again, this is the one that you're going to want to use if you're trying to find something for similar triangles in a graph, or trying to find the points, like how far away the points are. Okay, next you have Pythagorean Theorem. This is one of the more fundamental ones. So it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And you can manipulate this any way you want for triangles, right triangles. Again, the most common Pythagorean triples that I've seen on the SAT were 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, 6, 8, 10, 9, 12, 15, 15, 20, 25. And there's also 1, 1, root 2, and you should pretty much just try to memorize these because they'll help you save a lot of time on SAT problems. Next you have special right triangles. So you have your 45, 45, 90 triangle and your 30, 60, 90 triangle. Okay, so on the 45, 45, 90 triangle, you should always know that the A leg and the B leg are going to be equal to each other because they're both x, and the hypotenuse is going to be root 2x. Or otherwise known as x root 2. Okay, and on 30, 60, 90, the hypotenuse is going to be 2x, the shortest leg is going to be x, and then the longest leg is going to be x root 3, root 3x. Okay, and SOHCAHTOA, so this is just one way to memorize the sine, cosine, and tangent values. So sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent equals opposite over adjacent. Okay, next we have the length of an arc. So arc length equals theta, or the degree value, over 360 times 2 pi r, or the circumference. So here it is. Here's your center. There's your theta angle. So this would be like either 100 degrees, not 50 degrees. This should be given, but you can always work backwards from it. Your radius. Radius is one of the things that you need for this formula to work. And then this is going to be your calculated arc length. So like right here. So like A, if that's A to B. So arc AB is going to be theta over 360 times 2 pi r. And you have a sector. This is pretty similar to length of an arc. So area of a sector equals theta over 360 times pi r squared because it's for area. And pi r squared is the area of a circle. So area equals pi r squared. All you need is the radius. Okay, for circumference of a circle. As mentioned above, circumference is 2 pi r. It's just good to memorize all of these because it'll save a lot of time on the SAT. And the SAT is all about time management because most of the questions can be answered within like 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, pretty standard. Area of a square or rectangle, length times width, or for square it's length times length. Area of a triangle, A equals 1/2 BH. Although all these formulas are given, again, I'm emphasizing that I'm really stressing on the fact that you should memorize these, or at least try to memorize them. Okay, here's your volume formulas. This is straight off of the chart. So, a rectangular prism is going to be length times width times height. A cylinder is going to be pi r squared h. A sphere is going to be 4/3 pi r cubed. A cone is going to be 1/3 pi r squared h. And a pyramid is going to be 1/3 length times width times height. And I'm also going to link all of this to the end of the video. I'll put it in the description. Okay, so density. This is something I've seen occurring more recently on the SAT test. Usually it's given, but it's also good to memorize it in case it's not. So density equals mass divided by volume. And sometimes they give you the density, then you have to find the volume, and then calculate the mass. So you should know how to manipulate this formula. Okay, equation of a circle is another important one that I've been seeing more recently on the SAT test. So x minus h whole squared plus y minus k whole squared equals r squared. And you should also know that how to manipulate this, how to work backwards from it, how to even factor out to get this. So if you're given like a set of points like x squared plus 4x plus y squared plus 3y equals 10 or something like that, you gotta first factor out, then you have to complete the square, and then you have to solve to get into this formula. This is the only way you can manipulate to or be the r, the h, and the k. Okay, vertex form of a parabolic function. So you have y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. This is the one that's more common. But then you also have this one. Y equals a parentheses x minus h whole squared plus k. Again, it's the same way. It's the same as this, except this one's just factored out. Okay, and ways to factor. So you can reverse FOIL or the typical factoring. You also have factor by grouping if you have like 4 sets of numbers. You can complete the square and use quadratic formula. The reason I've listed it like this is in terms of the shortest to longest, because completing the square and using quad form usually takes like 45 seconds to a minute, whereas reverse FOIL, or I like to call it just regular factoring, it can take like maybe up to 10 seconds as long as you know what numbers it is. Okay, next is probability. So probability of an outcome to occur is the number of desired outcomes over the total number of possible outcomes. So this one, so usually you're given a chart and it's like, it'll be separated. All I emphasize on this one, or all I say, my advice for this one is just read it, read the prompt well, because sometimes misreading can get you the wrong numbers. Okay, exponential growth is f of x equals a plus 1, parentheses 1 plus r to t power. So t would be time, r is going to be rate, and yeah, that's about it. And then exponential decay is the same thing, except it's a 1 minus r to the power of t. Okay, arithmetic sequence and geometric sequence. Okay, these ones aren't as common, but they're still likely to, there's still a chance for them to show up, so you should probably be prepared for it. So a to the nth power, so the power that you're looking for, equals a to the first power, or a sub power 1, plus n, the nth term, minus 1 to the power of d. So d would be the difference, or like how much they're multiplying by. Geometric sequence is a to the n equals a to the 1 times r to the n minus 1. I'll cover these more in depth on my later videos. Okay, comparing degrees to radians and radians to degrees. These are also common. Usually you see them on the free response, and they're really easy as long as you know how to do this. Okay, so theta, so the angle, times pi over 180 equals radians. And then for radians to degrees, it's theta in radians times 180 divided by pi. And usually the pi's cancel out on the radians one for radians to degrees. Okay, mean. So the mean is the sum of all data points over the total number of data points. And yeah, this is really common, so as long as you get good at these, it's free points. Median, so the ways to find the median. First, it's a set of 4 steps. First, arrange all the numbers numerically. Find the middle number. If it's even, then the 2 middle numbers, you add them up and divide by 2 to get the median. If it's odd, then the middle number from the list is the median. Okay, mode. So the mode is the most occurring number in a sequence. So yeah, just look at the one that repeats the most. And the range is the difference between the lowest and the highest values. Okay, and standard deviation, although you're never going to be asked to calculate standard deviation, they're still going to have problems referring to it, so you should know how to do it. Okay, so standard deviation pretty much expresses the closeness of the numbers in a sequence. In order to determine the standard deviation for a SAT problem, you need to calculate the mean first, then determine how many numbers in that set of lists occurring near the average or the mean. And then the one with the least, so it'll be like 2 data points or 2 sets. So like set A will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Set B will be like 2, 4, 6, 10, 15. So the one with the least number of occurrences closer to the average has the higher standard deviation. Okay, and percent increase. That's final minus initial divided by initial times 100. And then percent decrease is final minus initial divided by initial times negative 100. And this should get you your percents. And I will post another video which will go over practice problems for specifically addressing these problems, specifically using these problems. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please please subscribe or check out my other videos, and please hit the like button. Thank you.